Hi everyone, today I'll be showing you some tips and tricks on Arsenal on Roblox. So before I get into the main part of the video, I just wanted to say I'm sorry that I did not record in quite a long time. So from now on I'll be trying to record on a regular basis, weekly if possible. And my videos will be shorter, unlike my last video, which I realized right now which was very long. So expect the videos to be around 10 minutes each, continuing from now. And as always, if you enjoyed the video, please give it a big thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and like to share the video with your family and friends. So without further ado, I hope you enjoyed the rest of the video. So before I get on to the main content of the video, I wanted to quickly apologize about my trash gameplay in the background. This is mainly because my FPS is going from 1 to 1000 like half a millisecond. As you can see right now, it's just changing drastically so much. This is mainly because of my recorder right now. I think I need to fix some settings on it. I still can't find it. Usually my FPS is around 60, which is reasonably good. But since the time I record on, it's just been going crazy. I don't know how to fix it. The recorder I use right now is Mariel's Action. So if you know how to fix it, can you please leave that in the comments. And without further ado, I'll just get on with the rest of the video. So my first tip is going to link with my explanation for my trash gameplay before. So that's going to be FPS. Your FPS stands for your frames per second. To understand why this is important, I want to quickly state what it is. Your frames per second, or FPS, is basically how many times your screen changes frames per second. So the reason this is important in games, especially like Arsenal, is because you have to change. It's a really fast-paced game, so you have to computer has to change frames quite regularly on a frequent basis. So let's just say your FPS right now is 30, and you can check that by that small indication of your ping and FPS on the top right corner of your screen. Arsenal's developers been very nice to give us that. So if your FPS is 30, let's just say, you're going to have extremely bad gameplay, since your display is not going to be able to compete with how fast the game going. So when you're going to start like having very bad gameplay, you're going to start blaming yourself. Well, this game's extremely bad, so I must be a bad player. But really, it's the quality of your screen. So in the same way, this happens in the opposite sense. People have extremely good FPS, like let's just say 120, which is a bit over the top, but they have very trash gameplay. They just say, well, that's the FPS's fault. Well, really, they're a bad gamer themselves. They need to practice more. And what I recommend for a good FPS is going to be 60. 60 is going to give you a fluid and good gameplay. It's not going to be an interference either. You can go above 60 FPS, but don't go anywhere below it. Keep 60 as your bare minimum. If you're going to be getting higher frames per second, what you want to keep in mind is your device's specs. So if you got a Core i3, don't be going for 120 FPS. It's obvious you're going to have so much lag. It's unbelievable. You might as well just play at 10 and be better. So if you got a Core i9, by all means just go ahead and get your FPS as high as you want. But most people, I recommend keep it at a 60. Another thing I recommend is going to be managing your sensitivity. This is important because your sensitivity is going to be dictating how much your FPS how high it has to be. So let's just say your your sensitivity is max, like I think it's 3 in Roblox. So if your FPS is max, you're going to be changing your frames really quickly, as the game has to be changing extremely quickly as well. What I recommend is finding a FPS you're comfortable with. This can be like 1.5 or whatever it's going to be. The way I found out my sensitivity, which is 1.6 right now, is by doing this method I did with Call of Duty. So every week you're just going to increase your Call of Duty, so you're going to increase your sensitivity by however many amount you want. So keep it like the bare minimum, like 1 block at a time, which I think is like 0.3 sensitivity each. So increase it weekly until you'll find out your best sensitivity when either your gameplay is being interfered with or become worse because your sensitivity is hard to control or you can't control it. So go back down a bit and find that sensitivity is probably going to be best, or you can compare the gameplay of you in different sensitivities, and then whichever one's the best for you, you can just decide that as the best sensitivity you should play at. So my second tip is all about knowing the maps in the game. So when I'm talking about knowing the maps, I'm not saying memorize every single location of the buildings and the bridge and whatever else on the map, the Easter eggs. Those would be nice, but most of us probably won't memorize it, and secondly, the Easter eggs aren't really that important. So, what I'm talking about when saying memorize the maps, or just know the maps, is first off, know the spawns. When you know the spawns of the map, it's going to be really easy for you to kill people and get more kills. This is mainly like Call of Duty as well. So, in Call of Duty, you can say the team, in most fast shooters as well, your team's gonna spawn on one side of the map, and then the other team is gonna usually spawn entirely opposite. Arsenal is really similar as well, but they're not exactly the entirely opposite locations. You can all spawn in other areas around the opposite side. So you wanna learn about what the spawns are, and then you can just you can spawn trap in a way. As long as you can go behind the spawn trap and make it easy for you to win the game. Another thing the second thing I'm telling you to memorize the maps, is to know the central areas of the map, which is pretty obvious by now if you're relatively decent at the game, that you should avoid as much as you can to go through the main part of the map, unless you just try to troll someone. You will get killed sometimes, but more often than not, you'll get killed yourself instead. So, what you want to do is know all the other locations to get areas. So, let's take safe as an example. The main passageway to the other sides of the spawns is the main house that everyone goes, the big house in the middle. That's where everyone else goes. Instead of going there, you probably get killed. You go to the sides, go to the sides of the wall, go behind the rocks, go up the ramps on the other sides of the buildings. You can go up the ladders. You got so many other areas to go to. If you're going to go through the house, instead of going to the bottom floor where everyone else goes, at least go through go up the stairs to the main floor. That way, you're less likely to get killed and you can get to the other side faster. So just keep these things in mind before you go into a battle with the other team. Another thing which you want to know when you're going to be learning the maps is that you want to know if you're playing the different modes. So when you have 4 teams, you're going to all the teams are going to spawn in the similar areas. So you want to learn that as well. So green team and yellow team will spawn in the exact same area. So you want to dominate that area first, as you'll do in the 2-team version, 2-team mode, and then you want to move on. So small things like these in the maps is really important for you to become good and have a good gameplay in the game as well. The third tip is going to be about the weapons. Now this is probably going to be the most important tip in my opinion, since the weapons are basically the fundamental of the game. So first we're going to cover the types of weapons. So we have many types of weapons in Arsenal, just like any other fast shooter. We have snipers, you have machine guns, you have semi-auto rifles, you have SMGs, you have hand cannons, whatever else there are. So each one of them has some of their own damage and qualities. So the concussion rifle, for example, does 50 damage no matter where you shoot, and I think it was the P223 or whatever gun that was. That one does pretty much the same damage as it does for the body shot as it does for the headshot. What you want to do is learn about what damage they do at what part of the character's body. So you should usually aim for the head to get the most damage, and the chest sometimes does more damage than the legs and the arms. So you want to learn about that. As well as this, you also want to learn about the qualities of the guns. So think qualities, I'm talking mainly about the right click skills. So most guns in the game have a right click skill, which is unique to them, or unique to a group of them. So explosive weapons, including the rocket launcher, the concussion rifle, and a couple of shotguns such as the DBS and the other shotgun. I can't remember what the name is. But when you jump and you shoot them at the ground, you can gain a lot of height if you time it correctly. So you just be flying in the air. You can travel on the map a lot faster with that, and you can scout where all the enemies are, and makes it easier for you to find them and kill them. Another thing which you want to know is the recoil of the guns. So the laser guns, the main one which I'm going to be talking about here. So the laser guns, they have no recoil, so you don't have to worry about them not hitting them just causing you to miss the target. As long as you have a firm aim on the target and you shoot it properly, you can't blame the gun for not hitting it. It's going to be your own bad aim. You also want to notice on the opposite hand, we also have the potassium power, for example. It has extremely high recoil, so 1 second the bullet may go there, and the other second is going to go up to heaven, wherever it's going to go. You want to manage the recoil of the weapons by putting your mouse down or doing in a certain pattern. This is a lot similar to Call of Duty as well. In Black Ops 4, you can manage the recoil by putting your thumbsticks in certain directions to make it go in a certain area or a hitbox. So what I recommend to practice this is going to go into a VIP server or just go on a public match and keep on shooting it in the wall. You're going to learn that they're going to have certain patterns they go in, and you can manage those patterns to have a tighter hitbox to the point where you desire it to be. As well as this, you want to know that you can aim with some weapons by right clicking them. So I can't remember the names of the weapons are, but you're going to have a sight on them which you can right click. It makes it a lot easier for you to aim on the target and kill them. So once you learned about the weapons, we can move on to the final tip of today's video. The final tip is going to be aim, and this is probably the one you've all been waiting for. So the main way to improve aim is straightforward. Just play the game on a regular basis. Don't go and do online aim trials or hire someone to teach you how to aim properly. Arsenal's not those types. It's not one of those types of games. There's not many games like that. It will help you, but it's not going to help you anywhere near unless you're just playing the game regularly. You're going to improve your aim drastically faster. So the second part of that, the aim, is going to be the sensitivity you're playing on. So I want to reiterate this because I said at the start of the video, but you're going to find a sensitivity that you're comfortable at by just changing it weekly until you adjust to one which is either too high, so you're going to move down and then you're going to have a sensitivity you're good at, or compare your gameplay across a number of weeks on different sensitivities to see which one's the best and you're most comfortable with. Another thing that you want to know about the your aim is that when you press control, I'm not sure it is on Mac, but I think it's like the same button there. You can just try when you shoot when you press control, sorry, you're going to start crouching, and then when you start shooting with your gun, you're going to have a much tighter hitbox, which makes it easier for you to shoot the target. But the downside of this is that when you crouch, you just move extremely slow, and that's something that you want to keep in mind. So don't be an idiot and start crouching in the middle of a giant fight where you're just wide open. You're going to be killed really fast. What you want to notice is that you want to hide somewhere, and then press crouch and then start shooting. You can start peeking through the sides of a rock or something, so most of your character is not visible, so it's harder for the enemy to shoot you. About speed leads me on to my next tip about how different weapons have different speeds. So your melee weapon, which you can equip by pressing 3, has the fastest speed of anything in the entire game. So that's going to be the end of this video, and as always, if you enjoyed the video, like, share and subscribe, and I'll be uploading next week, hopefully.